expectations. From a recruitment point of view, I wanted to do product management. And I got for me, being an international student, I felt like recruitment was my top priority because I wanted to land a job that could a lot of support from the school on that. The second is academics.
Hello Shwetha, how are you?
I'm good, Pravina. How are you?
I'm good too. So hello everyone. Today I wanna welcome my guest Shwetha Krishnamurthy, who is also my fellow kgpian from IIT Kharagpur. She was my first year roommate in IIT Kharagpur, and from there I know her. But now, um, uh, after working 4 years in Goldman, she has started her MBA journey at Chicago booth. So I really wanted to ask her questions that would help a lot of people and also would help me to understand MBA better and also give me different perspective about doing an MBA. So welcome my guest Shwetha. So Shwetha, do you want to share how is your MBA going so far?
Yeah, for sure. So thank you so much for inviting me. I am in my second year of MBA at Chicago Booth. So far MBA has been pretty good. I always say there are three aspects to an MBA life, which is first is recruitment, what you want to do post MBA, focusing on that. The second is academics, and the third is the social aspect, which is networking. So in all of those three counts, I would say MBA booth has exceeded expectations. From a recruitment point of view, I wanted to do product management, and I got a lot of support from the school on that. The second is academics. The Chicago booth in general, University of Chicago is known for its top-notch academics because we have a lot of Nobel laureates as professors here, and in general, the courses are extremely quantitative. So you would imagine that MBA courses are pretty fluffy, but at Booth they are like much more quantitative. So it's easier for me to grasp coming from an engineering background. So academics has been like amazing. And the last is the networking bit where you socialize a lot with your peers, like organize stuff and like essentially go to like parties and have a lot of different experiences and go on trips. So I've met some amazing people here from very diverse backgrounds, and I've learned a lot from them. And because of which, I would say that even on that account, Booth has exceeded expectations. So far, I'm really enjoying my MBA. That's how my MBA is going. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Sweta, for that answer. So, although I don't know anything about MBA, I know a lot about, but like not the way you told right now. So, as you said, there are three aspects for doing an MBA. So, what is, as you said that these are main. So, you focus on all of three equally, or is there something like that you want to focus more on? And also, why did you wanted what did why did you want to focus on product management?
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
got my attention. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, so obviously, like given that you have a lot of things going on in during your MBA, you have to prioritize, and the prioritization is completely personal depending on the person's goals. For me, being an international student, I felt like recruitment was my top priority because I wanted to land a job that could give me sponsorship to work in the US. And given that I will come to why product management, but given that I wanted to do product management, most of the best opportunities were based in the US. So that's why I wanted to like keep recruitment as my top priority. And also last year when I came here, the market was pretty cold. There wasn't a lot of recruitment activity going on, and a lot of companies were actually cutting back. So because of that, I had to our batch specifically had to work extra hard to get a favorable recruitment outcome. So that was my top priority. For me, second priority was academics, and the reason for that was is that I'm doing two degrees at once. I'm doing an MBA and a master's in computer science, and doing both of them together is pretty hectic. From an academics point of view, it's very heavy. I have to do a lot more courses than my MBA peers, and the CS courses tend to be a lot more intense. So because of that, academics automatically had to take the second priority after recruitment. And third is social. Obviously, I do spend a lot of time mingling with my peers, but given that I also have to like focus on recruitment and my academics, the amount of time that I spend is a little less than the other two. So that's the prioritization for me. And coming to the question of like why product management, so I've always been very passionate about technology. I was a data scientist before using machine learning algorithms in the real world. And during my and as Pravina, you said that in my introduction that I worked for Goldman Sachs for about 4 years. In the latter part of my experience, I got to take on some more leader kind of roles, basically leading projects end to end and building products ground up. And I really enjoyed that experience, and I realized that I would love to do this in a more in a bigger scale. So that's why I felt like product management was the intersection where I could apply my technical skills and do something that is extremely challenging, as well as exercise like leadership, essentially build something that is in line with the business objectives, the goals, and think about the customer and their needs and how we can scale a business. So that's the reason why I picked product management as my goal, essentially.
Thank you so much for your answer. And also, I following up on your answer, I wanted to ask you that, like for recruitment, how do you prepare for recruitment? Like throughout your program, what are like the things that you guys do to prepare for recruitment?
Yeah, so recruitment, I'll first give an overview of how recruitment works in general in an MBA, and I'll drill down on how the tech PM recruitment works. So there are multiple career paths that you can choose after an MBA. Mostly, if you look at my class in general, in any other MBA class, a lot of people will be choosing investment banking, consulting, investment management, and tech PM, sales, operations. So there are a lot of different kinds of recruitment opportunities, and the recruitment cycle and the kinds of things that you have to do to land a job are different for different roles, essentially. So for investment banking and consulting, those are very structured processes where all these business schools have long-standing relationships with the companies, and they have a very structured pipeline of like internships and full-time employments, because of which it's very easy to actually just follow through that. It's very similar to our undergrad recruitment pipeline. Like we had companies visiting the campus, and then we just had to apply through our career development center, and like we could interview with them. So that's how the recruitment process looks for the structured recruitment pipelines. But for tech in general, tech is very unstructured across all business schools. If you want to like do product management or strategy and ops or any of those roles in the tech industry, so it is more self-driven. Definitely school provides a lot of support wherever they can, but essentially companies do not have a structured pipeline into these schools. They just have they essentially just open roles, pipeline roles, but they don't actually communicate with the school to say that, okay, we need these many students and we need to interview them. So the way that the tech PM in recruitment works is that the first step is to have a very tailored resume for a product management role. So there are several skills that you need to highlight to show that you will be a good PM. And once you have that resume ready, that's where school gives you a lot of resources. You can like get your resume reviewed by multiple different people and get personalized feedback. And then once your resume is ready, you have to like apply to these roles. So at the end of our during our first year, we are usually focused on landing internships. And mostly we want internships that will convert into a full-time offer. But in tech, the full-time conversion rate is pretty low. So essentially, we have to like recruit in both first and second years. So first year recruitment, we are focusing on internships, and a lot of these big tech companies like Google, Apple, Meta, Nvidia, all of them have pipeline roles. Essentially, they have an MBA internship application that comes out where you have to apply, and then you have to like show your interest towards like product management or strategy or sales or whatnot. And based on that, if they find a fit for any of their multiple teams that are hiring, they will invite you for an interview. And they will have like multiple rounds of interviews ranging from like 2 interviews to like 5 interviews, and based on the interview feedback you will get to know whether you have been selected or not. So this is for the big tech companies. Then there are some startups, like private companies and some startups which might have a different pipeline. Some of them might give you a take home assignment. Some of them might give you an online assessment. Like Amazon is very famous for doing that. And if you want to like work for like early stage startups, that's where you have to network a lot. They don't essentially have they don't release internship roles. You would have to like reach out to someone in the startup on LinkedIn or anywhere else, and tell them that you are very interested in working with them, and have a conversation with them to decide whether you will be a good fit for that startup at that point or not. So that's the recruitment process for internships. And for full time, usually people, there are some companies that take interns, and with the who do give full time offers. For example, Amazon, Nvidia, Apple, all of these are like companies that do provide give, at least for our year, they did give full-time offers to whoever performed the best. But a lot of companies do not, like at least in my year, they did not give full-time offers. So in the second year, the recruitment starts a little later. So you have to like, if you are an MBA student looking for PM roles in your second year, full-time PM roles, you would have to like, there are very few companies that have like dedicated pipeline roles like MBA. We just want an MBA product manager. But other than that, 90% of companies will just actually ask you to apply to their usual product management roles, like just we call it just in time. So essentially, like closer to graduation, you apply to these roles, and if they like you, they will shortlist you and like invite you for an interview. So that's how the process works. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty rigorous though, like hearing, but I think it seems similar to what like other recruitment things looks like. But for just like ensuring that you'll get the job and you'll get the internship, all these things are I think required. And like if you really want to have a job with like big companies like Apple or like Amazon, which is your favorite company that you want to go for?
Nvidia, that is where I'm going as well. So I interned there, and I'm going back full time as a product manager at Nvidia, and it was my dream company coming in as well. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Shweta, I would like to go back little further. So you said you because you had your role as a data scientist at Goldman, and then from there you wanted to like understand more about product management and like manage project on a larger scale. So at what point did you think about like that MBA would be the best thing to do, or were there any other options that could have done the same thing for you?
Mm-hmm. So I think my MBA decision was something that I did not think that I would do an MBA, honestly.
Mhm.
I always thought that I will just do a master's. But after like and I thought that I will do a master's after working for like 2 or 3 years. But then pandemic happened, because of which I did not want to like leave India during the pandemic. And that's why by the time pandemic ended, and I was like once again thinking about like what to do for my higher education, I realized that master's is no longer viable for me, essentially because like the law of diminishing returns had kicked in, essentially. So after like 4 years or 5 years of experience, I felt like after doing a master's, I might be at the same level as I am right now. So essentially, and then that's when I realized as well that given that I want to do something in product management, I need to like pivot out of data science, essentially. And I also like talk to a lot of product managers to understand what are the things that they are looking for. And one thing that actually stood out was that they, at least back in 2021 and 2022, they were looking for some kind of experience in product management itself. So it was hard to pivot out of like data science, and I felt like I was like getting pigeonholed into fintech and data science kind of roles. And whenever I tried to apply elsewhere, and product roles, I always got rejected, saying that okay, you don't have product experience, or you don't have an MBA or like consulting experience. So that's when I like realized, okay, if I want to like do product management, and if I want to do like something other than fintech, I would have to like pivot out of it. And the easiest way for me to do that is to get an MBA. And anyway, a master's was something that I had to do because I only had a bachelor's before. So that's how I decided. Okay, I'll go and do an MBA, and I decided to go for an international MBA because I wanted to like work in the tech product management space in the US, and I felt like the pipeline from here was stronger. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, that's really like very good decision making, I would say. Because I keep asking other people also why they want to do MBA, because a lot of people go for MBA after 4 or 5 years of experience, and they have different needs, and definitely they have different career mindset, but still they go for MBA to to learn different things, and to apply that in later in their career. So that definitely sums up what I really needed to hear. So, Shweta, as you answered that you were more interested in tech role before, and mostly like after your undergrad, you did whatever role you did that was focused on tech. So,
Mhm.
how did you prepare for that kind of profile, and what sort of, I would say, courses you had in IIT Kharagpur that helped you to get that role and really work for that role?
Yeah, I think from high school itself, I was interested in coding a lot. I From first year itself, I was like involved in robotics and computer vision stuff. I would have loved to do like computer science, but it's so hard to get computer science in Kharagpur. So most of the coding and most of the courses that I took, they were mostly self-driven and self-taught. So from second year itself, I was doing like computer vision stuff for robotics in the mechanical engineering department itself. And I was working with different professors on some projects outside of my curriculum to gain some hands-on experience in computer vision. And that's how I got introduced to machine learning for robotics. So machine learning really captivated me from undergrad itself, from third year itself. I was working with a professor on a startup called Agnext, where I was like working on building some machine learning algorithms for disease detection in crops. So I really liked that, and I realized, okay, this has a lot of potential. And I was also seeing a lot of chatter that this is going to be the next big thing. And that's when I decided, okay, I would love to work as an ML engineer. So that's how I got my third year internship as well. I was working on natural language processing in this company called Yardley. And that's where I got a return offer there as well. And I took that job as a machine learning engineer. I was working on natural language processing, like cutting edge algorithms on sequence to sequence learning. And I really enjoyed that a lot. And and after that, when I got an opportunity to join Goldman to apply those machine learning algorithms in the fintech space, I took that opportunity and I was able to like scale that knowledge to millions and millions of customers and impact a lot of like I see my impact in the real world with the Apple Card, where I was like building machine learning algorithms for like detecting fraud. And though the kind of ML algorithms that I was using at Goldman were different from the kind of ML algorithms that I was building at Yardley, I was still like very much in touch with what is happening in the AI space. So I used to like I did a lot of like courses. Even in Kharagpur itself, I did some courses in machine learning, high parallel programming, high performance computing, things like that. And additionally, after my undergrad as well, I had like Coursera free from my employer, and I used that a lot. I did a lot of like ML courses, specializations on Coursera on deep learning and reinforcement learning and stuff like that. And that's how I was like, I was in touch with it throughout. And now, and that's why I decided, okay, I'll do a master's in CS as well as the MBA. And I'm tailoring my courses right now towards like AI itself, given that in the last couple of years, AI has like completely boomed a lot. So because of that, I can see that there's a lot of buzz, and there are a lot of like very helpful blogs and like people on Twitter and on Reddit who share a lot of knowledge. So I'm like constantly like trying to follow them. There are a lot of like newsletters and Substacks that I follow that keep me updated with what is going on in this world. And yeah, and as part of my master's in CS degree, I'm doing an ML specialization, where I'm taking courses specifically on generative AI and parallel programming and things like that. So that is how I feel like I prepared myself for this industry and this role. Yeah.
But
And also one more thing I forgot is that given we have like ChatGPT and Claude now, it's the learning process has become even faster and easier because I can just ask Claude or ChatGPT to explain something to me like I'm 5 years old. So whenever there is some kind of paper, some new kind of paper which I don't understand, I go to like ChatGPT to understand that. And also I've gotten a lot more hands-on, given that in the last 1.5 years, ever since I started my MBA, I have a lot more time on my hands, and I really do love coding. I have been like building a lot of my side projects using like AI, just trying to see what kind of agents I can build, LLM agents that I can build, and trying to get my hands dirty in that space. So yeah, um,
that's
that's my answer. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. Shweta, you're doing great stuff. Only hearing this, I feel like, oh my God, you're doing so great. And also, the people who would be watching it, they definitely can know so much more about like how can they build their profile if they want to go for the similar kind of role or similar kind of career. And secondly, as you said, how is it to manage MBA and Master of Computer Science at the same like time, and how is that even possible? Like, is
Yeah.
that program is like a dual program? How, which kind of program that is?
So it is a little heavy. It is much heavier than an MBA and much heavier than a master's as well.
Mm,
But I think UChicago has done a very good job of integrating both of them.
mm,
So essentially, for an MBA, you have to do 22 courses overall in 2 years, and of those 22 courses, about 10 of them are electives that you can take. Any course that you can take from the UChicago umbrella.
mm,
So and the rest are the courses that you have to take to like get an MBA degree.
mm,
So out of those 10, for this particular dual degree, out of those 10, for masters in CS, you have to do 13 courses. And in that MS in CS, out of those 13, four of them are complete electives that you can take from anywhere in the U Chicago umbrella. So what they have done is they have actually joined them together. So nine courses from the nine, there are nine core courses that you have to do for a master's in CS,
mm,
including the core requirements as well as the your specialization. So those nine fit well with my 10 electives. and the four remaining from the 13 courses that I have to do, four get in those four courses. I can just take an MBA, my four MBA courses, and that will count for those masters in CS credits as well. And at the same time, the nine CS courses count for my MBA full credits. So essentially, that's how it is integrated. So I have to do like instead of 22, I pay tuition for like 24 because I need some more electives as well. This way, if you look at my calendar, it's pretty fixed. But because of, and they realized that, and they gave us like two more courses that you can do. Like you can take any kind of electives that you want to pursue your interests. And so that's how it is integrated, and it's very flexible. So it's up to you how you want to like take the courses. So a lot of people will like take courses that are like extremely heavy during their freer quarters. Like for example, when they are done with recruitment, they will take like heavier courses. But at the same time, if they are in the thick of the recruitment process, they will take like lighter courses. So that's how I have been juggling essentially. So in my first year, my first quarter, I did not have a lot of recruitment stuff going on. So I like front loaded a lot of like like very difficult courses and a lot of like very heavy courses in my first quarter itself. And then my second and third quarters were I had taken like a little less workload heavy courses. But now in my second year, I'm now taking like those heavier courses now that I have the time to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think it's I have heard from other people also they do the similar thing. I think when they have some people actually here, some of my friends are doing part-time MBA, so they're working on their jobs
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing their full-time job but doing part-time MBA. So they manage their courses like in a
Mm-hmm.
very complicated way, as you already mentioned.
Yeah.
Shweta, this is really good. Moving on to my next question, which is basically like about you being international student and how was the change from India to Chicago? Like how was the I would say um, how was your sifting process and like what was how did you manage to like accommodate all your courses and your personal life there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a little difficult in the beginning. I first of all, I did not like bring a lot of stuff. I just brought like my clothes and a little bit of kitchen items to cook Indian food. But that's about it. Everything else I had to set up from scratch. But a good thing here was that I live in a student. I mean, I won't say it's not an official student housing, but this building is where all the booth students live invariably.
Mhm,
So I had taken this apartment from a previous booth student who was graduating,
mhm,
and those people had like furniture set up already. So I did not have to like worry about the furniture. I just had to like pay them to get the furniture. And in the initial days, I had to like set up my kitchen and like get some winter gear because Chicago is so cold. I had to like buy parkas and jackets and ski boots, sorry, snow boots and whatnot.
yeah.
Uh, I was very grateful to have like a bunch of friends moving here with me. A
Mhm,
lot of our KGP, Kharagpur batchmates were also doing MBA, were also like going to start doing an MBA at the same time as me. So I was very like grateful to have them around. Additionally, I have a sister and a brother, like cousin sister and a cousin brother here in Chicago. They were of a lot of help for me to like get settled in the initial days. And also it was a little jarring because I had to do everything on my own. In India, I had a lot of support. The support system was like very robust, but here everything I had to like figure out on my own and like cook my own dinner, like clean everything myself, and take care of a lot of things that I did not have to think about in India.
mhm,
So in the initial days, it did require a lot of planning, I would say. It was a little difficult, but once I had like a system of like planning everything, how I'm going to do stuff. For example, I started meal planning. So I would cook on like 1 or 2 days, and I would store that in boxes and in the fridge for the rest of the week, so that I don't have to worry about like cooking every day. And also I was like I learned some very quick recipes. So I did not used to cook in India, but here I had to like quickly learn how to make things very quickly. because I don't have the time. So
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm not eating like very fine dine. I mean, very good home cooked meals. Like in India, I used to eat like a dal, sabzi, roti, chawal, everything. But here, I'm just like I'm eating like either dal or sabzi or roti or chawal, not all of them together. So,
Yeah.
so so I
Yeah.
had to like plan all of that and I had to like learn some very quick recipes. I also learned that okay, like storing food and like eating very stale food is not good as well. So
Yeah.
the la from the from earlier this year onwards, I decided okay, I will try to eat fresh food as much as possible. So
Mhm.
I learned how to like what are the easiest ways to cook. So I learned baking a lot of I just like bake a lot of my vegetables so that I don't have to like stand on the stove and like cook them.
Okay.
So that is one thing I started doing. Then I also like learned like I started eating eggs. I did not used to eat eggs in India, but then
Here.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now I feel like eggs are such a great way to get like nutritional food, fresh food in a very quick way when you don't have time. So
And also,
breakfast,
that's not
yeah,
considered non-vegetarian in this part of
yeah.
the world.
Exactly, exactly. So that's why I feel like I just quickly boil eggs every morning and I'm done with it. So yeah, and for like and I only have like two meals. I have like brunch and dinner essentially. So I only have to like worry about dinner and most of the times I just like quickly whip up something which is like nutritional but also like very easy to make. So I'm always on call with my mom to see like I'm South Indian, so a lot of South Indian recipes are like very easy to make. So that's why I have
If you
shifted to
have food
like
processor, I think, then you
uh-huh.
easy to make. If you have food processor, I think.
I have an
What do you
instant
make?
pot.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are easy on. I just cook everything in the instant pot itself, just one pot. I'll do everything in that itself. Other than that, I just yeah, like I guess the major hurdle was food. Was getting used to like cooking your own food. Cleaning, I guess it's a weekly activity that I have to do anyway like once in like 3 days or so I have to vacuum and like every week I have to like clean do a deep clean of my house. Thankfully I have a very good roommate as well. She also like helps keeps everything clean and everything, so that understanding helps a lot. And yeah, so other than that, I guess everything else is just like once you plan everything, things get in the rhythm and you get used to it. So now I feel like I'm more comfortable with juggling multiple different things together. Yeah.
Yeah, and you are always multitasking, so you kind of learn it. Now you have to multitask other things, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I wanted to ask you this thing
Mhm.
that like how was it in IIT Kharagpur, like the on-campus placement thing? Like,
Mhm.
how did you prepare for it? What sort of coding exam that you had to go through, or like as you said, you had a placement offer. You didn't go for.
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
for placement at all.
No. No, I did not do that at all. So I even during my internship, so internship happens pretty early on in the year, in your third year itself. Sorry, in your fourth year itself, the moment you come back from your internships, somewhere in like December, that's when sorry, somewhere in August, that is when the sorry, internship recruitment starts, as far as I remember, in your third year or in your fourth year. That is a pre-final year essentially. So during that time in August, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do a corporate internship. I had done a research internship after my second year, and I really liked that. And I thought that okay, I will go for another research internship. But so that's why I decided to sit out of the usual like CDC internship recruitment process. But then towards the end of my third year, I realized, okay, I was also doing research at the same time during the year with some professors, and I realized, okay, I might not like research that much, and if I do another research internship, like two research internships, during my fourth year placements, I might not get selected for like companies because, like this is more like a PhD profile rather than a like a job profile essentially. So that's why I decided to like during the last few months of my last 2 month 2 or 3 months, I decided okay, I'll go for a corporate internship. And by that time, all the CDC placement had closed, so I had to go off campus. I had to like leverage my network, reach out to random people, and ask for internships. And
Mm,
that's how I got this internship in Yardley as an ML engineer. I really liked it a lot. And they did have a pipeline, which I did not know about before. But they were like kind enough to like extend an interview invite and then an offer. Interviews were pretty straightforward. They were like like any other ML interview, I would say. There were three interviews. All three of them were technical. All three of them drilled on machine learning algorithms and basics.
mm,
So it was pretty easy, I would say, as compared to other companies' interviews. And I got the internship, and after my internship, I got a full-time offer as well. So I did not go through the career development center
yeah.
process.
And
Mm,
also, like, I think for the regular jobs, I mean, like, other than tech jobs, the
mm,
interview process is like little bit different than tech jobs because all round for you is like technical. But for
mm,
other kind of jobs, there are like different round of interviews that they ask different kind of questions. So, so that was like my question that was it same for you? But as you told that
mm.
like all three rounds were like technical. For
Yeah.
you right now, how is it? Like, how is the interview process? How many rounds of interview that you have to go through in US? Like, is it three or like?
Yeah, it depends on the company actually. So last year I had four interviews, four companies interviews. So some of them had just like 2 rounds, some of them had 3 rounds, some of them had like 1 round, and if you clear that, then you are invited for like two more rounds. So it depends on the company, but for product management interviews, the interviews basically test one of the or like any combination of the following five things.
Mhm,
One is like product design. So you have to like practice product design. There's a set way to like there are some very famous frameworks. You can either choose to use them or make your own framework to answer those questions. Then there is product strategy. The third is analytics, whether you are able to like use an analytical side and like analyze data.
mhm,
Then fourth is the technical skills, which is more like system design questions. And last is behavioral, like more on like how good of a leader you are, like how well you will fit into the product management role essentially. So those are the five things that they usually test for.
mhm.
And every interview is about like just an hour, 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And every interviewer will test for like one or more of the following of the aforementioned five things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like, I think for most of the interviews, I think five
Mm,
things we go for.
mm,
But Shweta, I wanted to move back to your MBA like
mm,
admission thing. So
mm,
as you mentioned that like the process of choosing the Chicago booth, but did you also apply for other colleges? Or like
mm.
how did you prepare for like entrance exam and everything? And like when did you like how many months did you give for this whole process of joining the program?
Yeah. So MBA admission process is pretty intense and pretty long. So I decided somewhere in 2022, beginning of 2022. That's when I decided, okay, I'll go for an MBA.
Mm-hmm.
And good thing, the reason why it was that early was that because I knew a lot of my friends who were going for an MBA. They also like did this for an entire year, like did the application for an entire year. So somewhere in February, I decided I'll go for an MBA. In March, I decided, okay, I have to give it GMAT. So that you have an option between GRE and GMAT. So I had already given a GRE, but it wasn't valid anymore because I had given it in my last year, like my undergrad last year, and GRE validity is only like 3 or 4 years. I don't
Yes,
remember
yes, 4 years.
exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I went for a GMAT. GMAT is the usual like exam for MBA admissions. So I prepared for GMAT for like I decided to go for it in May end, is when I decided to go for an GMAT. The preparation was pretty straightforward. I mean, there are a lot of websites available that help you with GMAT preparation. There are some people don't even use those websites. They will just go with the books, the official books. Um, so I went with the website because I felt like I was working full time as well, and I did not have a lot of time to like plan everything and like complete the books myself. So it was good to have the website. The Target Test Prep is the platform that I'm talking about. It really helped me on keeping on track with my preparation while working full time. So I exhausted all the materials there. I gave my GMAT and I was satisfied with the score. Obviously, it wasn't that high. I could have aimed for higher, but usually people do give multiple attempts at GMAT. But I thought that okay, this was above median for most of the business schools essentially. And once I had my GMAT score, I reached out to an admissions consultant. So MBA application process, given that it's so intense and it's a black box, you don't know what schools
Yeah.
want.
Mhm.
It is very, you can choose to do it without a consultant as well,
Mhm.
but it's just way too it's a lot of work to do it yourself. And given that you're working full time, it's easier to actually have a consultant to guide you through the process and help you like pick schools and apply to them and like design your strategy regarding your application process. So I decided to go for a consultant to just ease my workload. With the consultant, I told the consultant about, okay, these are my goals, this is what I want to do, this is my background, and these are the things that I like and dislike. And after hearing all of my preferences, my consultant gave me a list of like schools that I should look into. And Chicago Booth was the top one. He said that you would be a great fit for Chicago Booth, and it will be a great fit for you as well. So I researched a lot more to understand, okay, what they are looking for, what makes Booth stand out of other schools. And I realized, okay, I really like being in a quantitative environment when things are taught in a more things have a mathematical foundation and it's easier for me to grasp. And Booth really prides itself on having just that. So I like that a lot. And second, it was a very flexible curriculum. So essentially, I did not want to be. There are some things that I just are not interesting for me. So Booth really allowed me to actually pick those courses in however way I want during whatever day I want, whatever hour I want. So I really like that a lot, the flexibility aspect. And the third thing was that I wanted to be in a city, in a big city. So after being in Kharagpur for like 4 years, I realized, okay, the next degree I'm getting, I want to do it in a big city with a big, very lively downtown, a lot of things happening. So because of all of these things, I decided that okay, I'll go for like Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. These are the major cities which I would love to be in. And I considered schools in those, and I also considered some more schools, but they were mostly for like driven by my own interest essentially. So I applied to there are multiple rounds of applications. For international students, it's either round one or round two. Round three is just too late for you to like go through the process and get a visa. So I only applied in rounds one and two. And I applied to 8 schools overall, and I got admitted to 6 of them. And Booth was my top choice from the beginning. So I got an admit from Booth, and I also got a scholarship. It wasn't a lot, but still I felt like okay, this is good enough for me.
Wow.
And the third thing was that I Booth is very unique in offering this MBA plus Masters in CS program. It's not that ubiquitous. A lot of other schools do offer MBA plus Masters in Masters programs, but those masters have to be in your like related to your undergrad major. So for example, UC Berkeley wanted me to do a masters of engineering in mechanical or aerospace engineering, which I did not want to do. Similarly, like there are even other schools, whichever that were the schools that were offering a joint degree, they required me to do a master's in my something related to my undergrad, and that did not sit well with me. I want to do a master's in CS, and Booth was the one that actually U Chicago was the one that was unique in that sense that actually gave me that opportunity. Even Kellogg is pretty close, but I felt like this was a better program for me, given that I'm getting like two full degrees rather than one joint degree, essentially. So yeah, that's how I decided for both, and that's what the process looked like. And the process went on till like I would say March, like March of 2023. Yeah.
So, if we want to quantify that time in like in months, how many months did you spend to get the admission, like get everything sorted?
I think full 12 months. So March 2022 is when I decided, okay, I'll go for an MBA.
Mhm.
And March 2023 is when I got to know, okay, is when I finalized that, yeah, I am going. Yeah.
Okay, so also talking about the finance aspect of doing a MBA. So
Mhm.
although it's like it's a very critical factor in like whether you want to do a MBA or not,
Mhm.
but also how to manage finances if you want to do if you want to do a MBA. So
Mhm.
do you want to share your like learnings and your like strategies that how did you apply for loans and what was your process on managing finances?
Yeah, for sure. So MBA is definitely extremely expensive. It is probably the most expensive of masters
Yes.
that you could do. And so that was definitely something that I was thinking about as well.
Mhm.
But there are like if you so I had to take a loan. Essentially, even if you get like a full scholarship, you still need some kind of money that you get from your savings or take a loan to sustain life in the US, right? So I went for a loan from a US bank itself. The
Mhm.
reason for that was that I did not want, I the overall the cost of attendance for an MBA will come out to be about $250,000,
Mhm.
which is a lot. And getting that much amount in loan from an Indian bank would be difficult because they would ask for a collateral, and I wasn't comfortable like giving a collateral. I did not want to like go through that hassle of like giving a collateral to the bank to get a student loan.
Mhm.
And the second thing was that a lot of these American banks have a connection with these schools already. So they know that, okay, on this date, they have to like deposit the money to the school, and the school will reimburse whatever my living expenses are to me. But from India, I thought that, okay, if I had to like coordinate all of this from India, and if there was any kind of delay in payments, then my parents would have to like go through the hassle of like visiting the bank branch and like moving the process forward. And I
Mhm.
did not want them to like have that like hassle on their head.
Of
So
course.
that's why I decided to go for a US bank. And specifically, I went for a US bank that asks for no collateral and no cosigner. So if you do have a cosigner, someone who you trust a lot to cosign this loan with you, then the interest rate, the APR that you're given the loan at is a little lower than what a no cosigner loan interest rate is. So, but I did go for a no cosigner loan because even though I had relatives here, I felt like they are equally liable for this huge amount of loan, and that would also like hinder their own life goals. Like it might be possible that they want to do something, they want to buy something, and probably this loan might be a hindrance for that. So I did not
Yeah.
want that as well. Yeah,
Yes.
so that's why I did not go for a cosigner. I went for a no collateral, no cosigner loan. I have the loan at a much higher interest rate. Definitely it is a little scary, but it's more like taking a bet on your future self rather than your past self. So I did not use any of my savings at all,
Mhm.
because I wanted to like save them up for any kind of rainy days or any emergency funds. And also like when I graduate, I wanted to like have some pool of savings with me. If I had used up those savings, then once I graduated, I would have like started from ground zero essentially.
Mhm.
So I did not want that either. So that's why I felt like, okay, this loan is definitely like it comes at a very high price, but I felt like, okay, I can like work for like 3 or 4 years and repay this loan. I did that math,
Mhm.
and I thought that this is a fair timeline for me to like repay the entire loan without having to face that interest that much. So that's how I decided the finances. Definitely that also requires me to like spend very frugally, live very frugally in the US. So for example, on a day-to-day basis, I don't eat out a lot. I try to cook as much as have home cooked meals as much. If you like eat out, you have to like spend a lot more. I take public transport as much as possible. From a travel point of view, I haven't been on a lot of trips. I only like go very rarely with my friends on very budget trips.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've also like tried to do I have some savings from my internship. And additionally, I'm also like I did some part-time job. I will once again like do that once the quarter starts again in January, to earn a little bit more on the side. And there's also like you can become a teaching assistant or a research assistant or a grader to get some more money, to earn some more money. So, yeah, so those are different avenues how you can manage finances and bring down the loan amount essentially.
That's really detailed answer, but thank you so much. And also, I wanted to ask you like little bit personal aspect of doing an MBA.
Mm-hmm.
Not like also being in US. So
Mm-hmm.
you were, I know you were a single child, and how is it to like manage the time difference between Chicago and India and like be in touch with your parents and your family
Yeah.
back in India? How do
So
you?
yeah, I do think about that a lot, being a single child. But my parents also like are really happy that I'm in the US, and through that they also like get to come to the US. They also have they have a visa right now, so they are planning on coming next year. And I also want them to like experience the things that I have been experiencing for the past year, show them around, show them places that I went to. So that is something that I'm looking forward to a lot. And additionally, from a point of view of like how I'm managing the time difference, I essentially like I call them every day or they call me every day, either in their evening. Their evening is my morning is what suits them better because my father is back from work. So they have time to like talk. So every morning I have a call with them. Sometimes it gets skipped, but it's fine. Like at least once in 2 days for sure I call them and have a lengthy conversation with them. So yeah, that's how I'm keeping in touch with them. They also have their own life in India. I feel like they have ever since given that all of us like moved to Kharagpur when we were like 17. They are pretty much used to not having me around that much. I mean, I'm just kidding, but yeah, they do have a lot of their hobbies. They are also like very busy with
Yeah.
their like they are very close to retirement. So they are very like they have their own hobbies and stuff like that, which keeps them busy. So yeah, but yeah, they are looking forward to like coming to the US, like
To
being
visit you.
yeah,
Have you
yeah.
been before?
No, they haven't. This is the first
Yeah.
time that yeah.
So also like I must say in India, like even parents, they have their own life. They don't have time for you only. That's
Yeah.
like my mom doesn't pick my call because she's busy in her 100 different things. So
Yeah.
their life is more, I think, dynamic than mine.
Yeah. Yeah, they just have so many people around, and they have a lot of things going around. For me, I just have like a few friends here, but for them, they have been there for their entire lives and they know everything, what's happening, when is it happening, and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, but as you said, that's definitely like a I would say brighter picture of like having international degree is that you can see the world and your family can see the world with you. And
Yeah,
definitely. So, Shweta, I think that's about the interview, and we are also running on time.
yeah.
So we would say, I think, thank you everyone for watching this video, and thank you, Sweta, for answering all the questions. And they would help so many people to prepare for interviews, MBA admissions, and so many other things. So, and all the best for your future. And I'll keep in touch with you. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks, Pravina.